Welcome back to Prime. I'm Amy Jones. We all enjoy a good summer read. I'm here today with Courtney Smith and Katie Fittz, and we've been talking about some of our favorite books of all time and some books we've just read. We actually just finished reading this book, Hunger Games, which was a good book. Want to know what you guys actually think about it. Courtney, what do you think about Hunger Games?
You know, I liked it. I know a lot of people have a problem with, the basic premise, killing of children and that everyone watches it and gets entertainment from it. But I, for whatever reason, was able to look past it and thought that it was well paced, and I wanted to know what happened next. So,
Katie, when you started reading the book, did you find that it was hard to get into a little bit? I felt that way.
At first it was, because I think it was trying to get over the premise of teenagers killing each other. But once you really get into it and you get into the games part of it, then it's just more like, okay, I got to follow Katniss, and we've got to get through this, and you kind of feel like you're with her.
Yeah.
It's a bit addictive, because I thought the same thing in the beginning. I was thinking, gosh, I don't know that I really want to read about kids hurting each other. But then I found myself unable to put the book down, which I didn't expect.
Yes.
Did you feel like that too?
That was me. I would stay up until like 3 in the morning. Just one more chapter. Just one more chapter. Oh no, just one more chapter.
Yeah, so it did read really quickly for me, and then I went on to read the second two as well.
Don't tell us what happens though.
Okay.
What about the characters? Did you like them? Did you feel like you could relate at all to them, their struggles?
I mean, it's hard because it's nothing like what we live. I mean, there's no fear for our general well-being. And you're always kind of on guard but I mean, yes, I liked them. I don't know that I related to them, but I liked them.
I thought I wouldn't like them because I didn't think I could get past the original premise. But then you see that they're different, and that Katniss and Peeta, they do have a heart, and they don't want to see these other people die, but they have to do it because they'll die. So I think you just kind of get past that.
I felt like when I was reading it that there was some kind of a commentary going on about reality shows, or our need to always be watching other people in stressful situations or drama. Do you think that the author was deliberately trying to make us think about that?
I feel like he kind of was. I mean, she kind of was, because, they watch the games. The people back in their homes, they can see it live, and I think that maybe that is kind of similar to reality TV and how we watch people in their lives.
It is kind of voyeuristic in a way. I mean, like The Real World kind of, I think, was one of those original, where you did kind of watch everything that was going on with their everyday lives, and you tune in for whatever reason, I guess, just to kind of spy on someone, in a way, and just watch them go about their business. It's certainly not as bad as watching people kill each other, but, I think that's definitely in the reality TV realm that we all have been following so much in the past several years.
Yeah, you would hope that we would not allow something like this to actually happen, to enjoy watching that type of situation. What about the arena? I know my mom was reading the book, and she said, I'm finding it hard to believe that the arena can actually be this big, that they can control things that are going on.
I think I oftentimes I do have a hard time suspending my disbelief, and just kind of buying into, well, it is what it is, and just go with it. But for whatever reason with this book, I guess maybe just that it was so, you wanted to know what was going to happen, that I was able to just kind of put it aside, accept that it was what it was, and just go with the fact that there was this arena somewhere.
And I thought it was interesting that the government could control the weather, they could control everything.
Did you guys see the movie?
No.
Because it was interesting to watch, how they shot that, how it was just this big control room, kind of like NASA, and they would, send this thing over there and just literally drop it in, and then it was there in the arena. So it was interesting to see it come to life, kind of.
Well, that's one of the, modern day books. I don't know if it'll ever make it to a classic, but definitely a lot of people are following it. There are a lot of older books, classics, that we also like, and we put together a list of our top 5 of the classics. Katie, kind of talk to us a little bit about Pride and Prejudice. That's one of your favorites, right?
Yes. Well, I think it's just a classic romance, It's about these two people that have to overcome their differences to be in a relationship. Elizabeth, she has a prejudice towards people of the upper class, and so she has to get over that prejudice. And Darcy, he has a lot of pride that he has to get over. And it's also a little bit about women's roles and how they were just expected to marry rich, and then that was their life. That was where they got their fulfillment from. And so I think it had a lot of deeper meaning besides just the love story.
And even as an adult, you can enjoy it. Some of these books, the classics, I remember reading when you're in high school or college, and it has a different meaning if you read it as an adult. Like Catcher in the Rye, which I remember when I read that, I was a teenager, and I thought, geez, this is a big rebellion, say no to authority, I'm going to go run the streets and go crazy, which of course I never did. But you're kind of wishing you could be like the main character in that particular book for me. What about The Help? That's one that you
Yes,
read,
I actually read it, I think, last summer, but it's certainly not on the same level as, some of our other classics, but I think that it's one that people continue to read and enjoy. The characters, I really did love the characters, and then you love to hate some of them too, but they were very well developed, and I did see that movie as well, and that was one that I usually don't like movies of books. I like the book so much better, but I really did like that movie too. It was excellent. So,
and I hadn't seen the movie, but I know a lot of people, you felt very emotional. There's a large emotional response you have to be ready for with
yes,
that.
definitely.
What about Katie, The Great Gatsby? That's the next one.
I love the time period of The Great Gatsby. It's the Roaring 20s, and it's all about prohibition, and there's murder, there's drama, there's affairs. It's just like this crazy drama, and I love it. And they're coming out with a movie December 25th. It's The Great Gatsby, the movie, and Leonardo DiCaprio plays Gatsby. I know. I'm excited about it.
Why do you think there's so many movies? Because a lot of these books, even books from a long time ago, it seems, are coming back into the theaters. And then the current day books, it seems like the trendiest thing now is to put them in the theater as well. Is it all about making money or good stories or what?
Probably, huh?
Probably, and it's also just, the visual thing. You could see it in your head, but then when you see it on the screen, it's kind of like, well, is it going to be the same as it was how I read it? Will they perceive it the same way that I did?
And yeah, it's interesting that I think most of the time they don't, and that's why I end up not liking the movies. But as I said, I really thought that The Help stayed true, and it's hard to in some of the longer books, to get all of the information in there without being too long. And but I felt like The Help did a really good job in that aspect.
And even with casting, because you may visualize someone looks a certain way, and then you see them on the screen, like, that's not how I thought.
That's not what you look like.
Hard for me. What about To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yes, To Kill a Mockingbird is another one that I read in high school. That is just kind of I read that someone in 2006 they said British librarians ranked the book ahead of the Bible on a list that every adult should read before they die. So some people feel that strongly about it, that it's just kind of one for the ages. It's a story of just doing the right thing because you think it's right, even though it's a lot of racism in those times, like outward racism, and that this man stood up for what he believed was right, and a good story of a good family man who did the right thing.
Sounds good. Well, let's go over our list of our classics that are perfect for summer. We have Pride and Prejudice, The Catcher in the Rye, The Help, The Great Gatsby, and To Kill a Mockingbird. And in addition to those, we have some favorites. I know that I brought in one today, Eat, Pray, Love. This book, I love this book. I know a lot of people that actually read it and didn't like the book nearly as much as I did. For me, when I read this book, I just felt like it spoke to a part of me that I know I won't ever have the opportunity to just put everything aside and go explore the world and do whatever I want to do like she could. But I'm also not miserable in my life like she was. But there's a part of it, like as an adult, to be able to just go on a huge adventure. There's something really appealing, and just see the world and eat whatever you want, and learn about religion and spirituality and anything like that. Did either of you read the book, or you have an opinion about it?
I did read it, or tried to read it several times. I loved the beginning, the eat section where she's in Italy. I've been to Italy. It just really brings you back to just the sounds and the culture and the sights and the tastes, and it's very what's the word? You use all your senses. You can imagine it very well. It paints a beautiful picture. But once I got to, I guess it was the pray section, again and again I tried to pick it up, and I have a friend who did the same thing. Pick it up, start reading, and then couldn't quite get through, and so I didn't end up finishing it.
Yeah,
I do know a lot of people that loved it.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people. I think it's one of those, either you love it or you really can't get into it. And Katie, you had a little bit of trouble getting hooked on it, right?
I did. I started reading it, and the same thing happened with me. I got into it a little bit, and then I kind of lost interest. I saw the movie, and I kind of, I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the movie either. It's another one where it didn't translate well.
It didn't. It really didn't.
I didn't like the casting really in the movie per se. I don't know. I just, maybe because I've seen the real author before, and I
she didn't look anything like her.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Another book, Courtney, that you've read, Meryl Streep, right? The Meryl Streep
Movie Club. Just read it, and I love Meryl Streep. I love her movies, and so it, hooked me in. And I did not like the book. I was really disappointed. It's just this family that has throughout the years they've never gotten along. In fact, to the point where they would outright just be mean to each other. And then something happens where they all are brought back to the place where they grew up. And all of a sudden, we're supposed to believe that within a matter of weeks they're just as close as if they had never had a fight in their lives. And it just didn't seem realistic to me. It was a little too fluffy for me. But the characters were just unbelievable to me. So I read it. It was an easy enough read, but I didn't enjoy the storyline.
Do you find that reading is a different experience as an adult than when you were maybe in school and you had a list of things you had to read, as opposed to now being able to choose what you want?
Definitely, because when I don't feel like I'm forced to read something, I enjoy it more. I guess it's more of like a rebellion thing. If you tell me I have to read this book, I'm not going to like it.
What about you, Courtney?
Or you just feel forced into certain, like I didn't like Pride and Prejudice, but I had to read it in school, but now you can read on your own time. You can read things that are interesting to you. And yeah, just pick and choose what you care to read.
Do you ever feel guilty if you buy a book? I mean, someone will tell me, this is a great book. Oh, I love it. I can't put it down. And I'll buy the book, and then I sit down, and I'm 20 pages in, or 50 pages, sometimes 100. Like, I hate this book. Do I finish it? What do I do? Oh, and then I don't know. It just feels so guilty about setting it down. Like I don't know, like
wasting
I've committed.
money.
Or I've committed to something and
betraying
now
your friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think in general I will just keep pushing through, especially if I spent, like the Meryl Streep book, I spent $15 on it, so okay, I'll finish it. And that was easy enough to get through, but Eat, Pray, Love, I just had to stop down in the middle and say no more.
I won't be offended.
Okay.
I mean, I love it, but I'm not going to be offended about it, not at all. What do you think about the fact there are so many trilogies now? When we talked a little bit about Hunger Games, you have Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey. That seems like the hot thing, 3 books. You like that? Don't like it?
Oh, I guess it depends if you like the first one, and if it does drive you enough to read, like the Hunger Games did drive me enough to read the second 2. I didn't care for the second 2 as much, but it, just the first one itself, okay, well, got to find out what happens to them, so you just keep reading.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for sharing your thoughts today on the books and reading the books. And you guys out there can also see our top 5 classic summer reading books if you go to our website on primetv.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And for Courtney, Katie, and myself, thanks for joining us, and make sure you pick up a book and read this summer.